Hello, trading is closed on April 9th, 2019. Let's go over our calls. Looked for a gap in the prompt move outside the day's range, which we got. We said that there was a small gap here which tended to fill, and that did. We had some MEJT targets and they printed. We said that price action would be the one with the early low and the late high. That's what this is. Tomorrow's pattern is the one with the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up first. During the day, MEJT said ultimately higher price would print, which they did. Said ultimately lower price would print, which they did. Says the move is false. Gives us a target of 28.8263. That's the call for tomorrow unless we gap down, which isn't impossible. Let's not forget that if there's a major change in trend here, that MEJT almost always will leave a failed target. Now this is a pattern which usually closes at the day's high. When it does not close at the day's high, it's negative unless we gap and promptly take the high out when we reopen. There's a number of reasons to think that could happen. We have a higher target. We dropped all day and closed, after gapping down, hitting all these new lows, we closed over all of them. And this pattern usually goes up, down, up. So there's a number of reasons to think we could gap up and take this out. But if we don't, it could be the start of a major drop. If we don't take this out, this pattern almost always leads to lower prices. And when there is an early drop in this pattern, which tends to be low to high, typically more downsides coming. We also have, for real, a believable sell signal from the NASDAQ McClellan oscillator. We got the DeMark sell signal 913.9. If it works, you could drop 100 points fast within 3 days. That doesn't mean it'll work. It's a sign that the market's overextended. It can lead to a correction in terms of price, correction in terms of time, which means you consolidate. It can recycle, which means if we keep going up, the count starts over again. Or it could fail, and if it fails in grand style. Now this is what I think is the most likely count, but it's not the only count. And the other count I had won't go away. This count can't be ruled out. And if that is the count, one way to count it, in addition to the way I showed yesterday, is to have this as A, this as an ABC, and this whole rally here, which I've had trouble counting, could be an ending diagonal triangle. And if that's what it is, then wave C is a Fibonacci relationship with wave A, and the count all makes sense. I don't know what this line's doing there. So if this is an ending diagonal triangle, and I don't know that, typically it'll retrace all the way to its origin, way down here. So the onus now is on the bulls. They have to show they've got more stuff by gapping up and taking out this high early. If they don't, and frankly, because of this big drop here, I think the odds are against it. If they don't, there's a good chance, because of conflicting signals, that we're going to gap under this low. And if we gap under this low and don't reverse it promptly, we have sufficient technical criteria for a very serious drop, in a relatively short period of time. So we'll have to see if we get such a gap in either direction and then plan our trades accordingly. And that's today's call.